Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Chicas Unfiltered. My name is Elena Rodriguez, and if you are there, tune in, say hello, tell us where you are joining us from. Tonight's episode is really special and dear to my heart specifically. And ladies, I think that we are going to find ourselves in every moment of conversation. So we really want to hear from you, ask questions. Feel free to let us know how you're feeling, because we're going to get into some deep topics. Reinvention. All right, we've got to look at this different. Reinvention isn't about becoming someone new. Sometimes it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. But here's the thing. Sometimes it doesn't come by choice. Sometimes it comes by circumstance. And many times, if we are in our 40s, our 50s, even our 60s, we may not have had a plan B. We may not have had like a backup plan if our life didn't turn out the way that we envisioned it would. And so what do we do in those moments? What do we do when we are finding ourselves having to pick up all of the broken pieces and kind of just rebuild? So that's the discussion that we're going to get into tonight. And again, with Chicas Unfiltered, we are all about life, love, and lipstick. And we are brought to you by Besitos Beauty. So I'm going to bring up our guests tonight. We have an incredible panel of guests that are joining the conversation, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell us where they are tuning in from.
Hi, I'm Raquel, and we're tuning in from Chicago.
Are you getting storms over there?
No, but we're having all four seasons today. We had it spring weather, summer weather, fall weather now, and we're about to hit winter.
Got it. Well, we're going to be having storms over here, so hopefully our connection stays on. All right, here we go. Who do we got coming up next?
Hey guys, it's Jessica, and I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana with all the storms.
There we go, and here we go.
Hey guys, Yara here, and I am in the Carolinas.
There is our panel tonight. It is the four of us, and we are going to start talking about, tonight isn't really starting from nothing. So when people feel like they're rebuilding, especially women, sometimes we find ourselves saying, like, I'm starting from scratch, or I'm starting all over. And the reality is we're not. We are starting from wisdom, experience, strength that has had to be developed. But sometimes when you're in the midst of things falling apart, you fail to see that. You feel like you're starting from scratch. So I love the word reinvention, because to me, that's a clean slate, and it's an opportunity to actually rebuild things the way that you want moving forward, versus looking at some of these things as failures, or, you know, we didn't meet an expectation, depending on the circumstance. So let's just get right into it. Okay. Raquel, what is something in your life that you feel you have had to reinvent or basically start over that you weren't ever prepared for?
Really being that single mother. I kind of felt like a single mother when I was married. And then I found myself actually being a single mother when my first husband passed away in 2020. There are a lot of things that my children would never get to experience now. They were younger because that happened. And so there are things that him and I talked about that are never going to come to pass, and dreams that we had that died with him as well. And there are things that I wanted my children to have with him that they won't experience. And so that has been a journey, and grief, as many of you know, is not linear. So we out of nowhere. His name is Hector. And so I would see something, and he was an amazing artist and musician, and I want to text him, and I'm like, oh, he's in heaven, but he sees it. So yes, finding yourselves in that position where all of a sudden the person, I mean, we were separated, but I was still his best friend, and we were still family at the time when he died. So we still have plans as a family. And so having that from one day to the other just gone. we still have the moments, you know.
Yeah, that's very tough, and I can totally relate, being widowed at 44 myself. Jessica, what about you? What is something that you have found in your life that you have had to restart over that you just never thought that you would?
Yeah. Also, becoming a mother, but learning early on that I would be on this journey by myself. And then accepting the fact that the person that I was with didn't want to have anything to do with me when we found out I was pregnant. So navigating life, because it wasn't in the plans. Obviously, it was God's plan.
Mhm.
And going through my pregnancy alone, and being a mom alone, with very minimal resources. It's been a huge journey and a huge reinvention of learning about who I am.
Yes, I love that. And you, Yara, what has been something in your life that you would consider a reinvention that you really weren't prepared for?
Yeah. So it's pretty much kind of re finding myself, I would say, after, coming out of a toxic relationship. I was feeling so low that I had to kind of find the way to myself again, and trust myself and trying to do things that I thought I could never do again. And on top of that, while doing that, then healing from the inside out, and then also physically because I gained a lot of weight. But it was more of finding myself again, being happy, with myself, within my skin, while I was healing, and then trying to do the things that I used to do that would bring me joy, because I was like, I felt like I was completely shut down. So it was kind of like restarting and pushing myself to kind of come back to myself.
One of the things that I think is wild is that with the four of us women on here, us four chicas, raising kids on our own is a common, like all four of us can relate to that, whether it was, a death or someone leaving. And I think of the kids, and I think of us as women who have had to navigate and be the mom and have the smile and be the leader, even if we don't even know where we're going. And it's how do you protect your kids from seeing that place that you are in a lot of the times, of the worry at night, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it? Based on the age of your kids, were you open with them about what was going on, or did you try to keep a lot of that from them? Raquel, we'll just keep going around. What about your
Oh
kids?
no,
How did
now it's different. Now they're older, and we have more frank conversations, and I'm more open with them now. But back then, no. And back then also, I was still going through a lot of things where I had tried to take my own life 4 different times, and coming out of that as well. And I talk about this now more often, is that people don't check on the strong ones. So I didn't want to burden people I was going through, and I certainly wasn't going to burden my children, because they're not, they were children, and much younger. They don't have the emotional capacity. And I found that for me, I just felt like a lot of adults didn't have the emotional capacity either, because I was the one that people came to, but I couldn't find soft to land. So I just found like some things for me were inappropriate. Maybe they're not, and that's just for my life. I just didn't want to share those things with them. And again, it's because of their ages and what I was going through at the time. Now, I'm in a different place now, and we have more frank, like I said, frank discussions with them. But I did hide a lot of it, and it's one thing to hide it from the children, but it's another thing to hide it from your inner circle. I hid it from them as well. And had I not done that, if I would have just trusted them, I wouldn't have found myself in those dark places.
You bring up a good point of, being the strong one. Who checks on the strong one? And how do you even open up the conversation to tell someone, I'm not doing okay, I need some help? Because when you've been in that position to handle it all, sometimes you don't even know how to do that. Like, what does that even look like? Who can you go to? Jessica, now I know for you, this happened right when you found out you were pregnant. So obviously you're dealing with like brand new baby.
Right.
How do you navigate that when all she sees is just mom,
Yeah. So I remember early on having like conversations with her that I knew that she would understand, because all she's known is like childcare. And, I've always had to be a full-time working person to be able to, sustain our lives. So what I started out with her was explaining, like every family looks different. Some families have a mommy and a mommy. Some families have a mommy and a daddy. Some families have other siblings, but us, it's you and me. It's a mommy and a daughter. So that helped her to, put our situation in a context that she would understand. We have not had any conversations yet. I obviously, well, she's only 6. And I just don't think that that's appropriate. I want her to understand childhood and embrace, friends and be a baby, be a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to have those deep conversations with her until she's, probably in her teens.
Yeah.
Just because, it's hard to with no experience.
Yeah.
It's hard to really get her to understand something that's as complex as, even for me, trying to understand the mindset and trying to understand, like mental health and all the various aspects of why people are making decisions the way that they are.
Yeah. And she's such a doll baby. She loves playing with her besitos too. And so for you, Yara, like, that's why this is like a beautiful panel, because we're all from different situations. You found yourself in a situation with a son that was a little bit older. So how open were you with him about things, or did you try to hide a lot of it from him and just be the strong mama?
I mean, older after, like later, but well, he was growing up that his dad was still in the picture. I definitely hid things from him. I just tried to kind of sugarcoat it and protect him and whatnot. But until one time it came that since his dad was the way he was, he wouldn't care who was around, including our son, to just blow up. So then it got to the point that he got scared of his dad. And when we separated, the time that he wanted to see his dad, or his dad asked to see him, like he will sometimes will tell me, yeah, mommy, I want to go, but like, can you stay? Like he wanted to see him, but he didn't want to be alone with him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there were times that I hid a lot of things, from him. There were times that I was truthful because I didn't want to lie or anything like that.
With some things that have happened that maybe you didn't plan for, and now you're finding yourself having to reinvent yourself, and you're older, maybe you're not where you thought you would be at the time. What are some gifts? What are some like hidden surprises that you have found in that reinvention that maybe you wouldn't have anticipated? Raquel, can you think of anything?
Yeah, one of the things was recognizing that when I was called out of corporate, I thought it was really to do entrepreneurial work. And it was really a reset of the things in my life that mattered, particularly and especially with my children, because I was working like 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours sometimes. And then when I was with them, I wasn't present because I had so much responsibility in corporate where, if we're on vacation in the US, well, Asia is not, or Europe is not. and I helped to oversee 40 offices as well around the world from Chicago. And so I wasn't present with them, and I knew that I wasn't being the kind of mother that I wanted to be. But I talked myself into working all those hours under the guise of I'm doing this for my family, and all the kids wanted was me and to be present. And so I had the idea one day to just start doing game night with them once or twice a week, and I go in and I do the games that they like and they're playing, and that has revolutionized our relationship. Where really, like, the time that I had lost with them, God did repair and restore through that. We're very close, and now we have the kind of relationship that I always dreamed of. And I have, like, I never went through like I hate you phase with them as teenagers. My youngest is 17, so I told them don't screw it up. I keep telling people I've never got to that phase. It was never like that I hate mom phase or any of that. I have a absolute dream relationship with my children, and that's really the most important thing. And I got my psyche back, and my body's doing better. Like, everything is better. But the main thing I wanted was to be present with my children, and I wasn't, and I kept on excusing it because I thought I was taking care of them when I really wasn't. I wasn't. All the kids want is us. They just want us to be present with them.
And I love that you bring that up, because I remember at the time I had a corporate job at one time, and when I left it, I mean, we were starting over. And again, I'm not going to say from scratch, but finances were way different. We didn't have the money to do this or to do that, but you know what? We could go anywhere we wanted at any time throughout the day. Our thing became late at night when their anxiety was high or something. We would all get in the car. We would go get a Dairy Queen ice cream cone at 9, 10 at night and just drive and listen to music. It was almost like when they're little babies and they just get relaxed in the car with music, but we would still do that. And just the three of us. And it's like, I think of times like that, and it's like, that wasn't anything extravagant, but it meant so much. And we still talk about it to this day. And I think if I'd have stayed in the job that made me think I had to take care of them, I really wasn't taking care of them, So I love that you bring that part up. What about you, Jessica? Like, what is a blessing or a gift that has come out of something that maybe in the beginning looked like, what the hell?
So many things. So my daughter has taught me how to not be in a hurry, how to take it easy. Mm-hmm. Don't be in a rush at all. So yeah, I have a similar story too, where I held a big title, for a university, and I lived to work, before she came along, and that's all I did. I mean, you would always see me there. I'd be there before anyone, and I'd stay after everyone left. So, yeah. And then when she came, there's that element of guilt that you feel as a mother, that they need you. But when you're the only person, of course, with no child support or anything like that, you really have to really, make sure you're at work. Mm-hmm. And, but so the past couple of years have been pretty rough, but they've been rough, but at the same time, they've been the biggest blessing for the both of us. I was able to, I quit. I was like, I quit my job. I quit everything that I knew up until that point. I quit, and I said, okay, I'm coming home. I'm going to start my business. The business I started that I didn't have the guts to start ever. So I became an LLC, and, I did all the things that I've always wanted to do, but I never had the guts to. And the relationship that we were able to build, because I was there, 24/7, it's been the biggest blessing of my life. I don't think that I would have ever had my own self-discovery, because, you're faced with having to face yourself, face your, all of the things that you always wanted to bury. I think, I know I did it expertly when I was working. I just immersed myself in work and I never faced anything. So she's also brought awareness that I needed to know that, yeah, I needed to start taking care of myself in different ways.
Taking care of yourself in different ways. So Yara, like, what about you? When we initially see this like life transition that requires us to, reinvent ourselves, it might not look like a blessing, but what have you found that has been the gift or the blessing that's come out of one of those circumstances for you?
My relationship with my son has gotten so much stronger, like real tight, and I really love that because of course we want our children to come to us. We will be the first one for them to come to for anything and everything, and I feel like um he's really open, and sometimes we talk about things that I'm like, really telling me that, about girls and stuff like that. And he be, kind of like, oh, see, mommy, you talking like me. And then I'd be copying him, I kind of get down with him. So we gotten real tight and whatnot. But one other thing is also, like Jessica said, to slow down. He has shown me, and it's like kind of teaching me to slow down. Sometimes he actually tells me, "Mama, but why are you rushing?" You know. And another thing that he helped me is about it's since I've been doing everything by myself for so long, so my masculine energy has really overpowered my feminine. So he's teaching me and showing me, helping me to kind of lay back and step back a little bit and opening doors for me and but sit down, mommy, taking chair for me to, and we go to the store and like, don't you dare touch that door. And it's like I'm going straight to it, and he sees me, I'm watching you, and then I stop. Like, okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, he's teaching you how to be the lady, the female.
Little like, I know you're not gonna touch that door, right?
So when we think of, let's say that somebody that catches this episode down the road is in that phase of whatever they envisioned their life was going to be like, it is not turning out like that. They like life circumstances are hitting them and they are thinking like what the heck. And a lot of times as women, we place emphasis on like our role. It's almost like a title at a job, or if you do own a business, you are this person that people get to know from that capacity. But what if things are like stripped from you, like, and it's just you? If you can recall a time, because I know I can recall a time when that identity piece was kind of taken from me, and I had to sit back and think, who am I? Like, who am I without this? And for me, it was when I had to close my fitness studio. For 14 years, I owned my own business. I was the fitness, instructor. When we'd have girls' night, people would introduce me to their friends as, this is my fitness instructor. This is my fitness person. Like, that's who I was. And then all of a sudden, I'm having to like make the decision to close the doors, which was excruciating. I mean, I probably cried more to make that decision than when I got divorced. It was the hardest thing. And because then I even wondered, like, are these people my friends really? Or was it just because I was their fitness instructor? So that life transition required me to have to reinvent who I was, how I felt, but I lost so much of who I thought I always was. And I had to really try to discover, who do I want to become? Like, who am I really? If somebody's tuning in and watching that, and this is open question, did any of you guys go through a situation like that yourselves?
Right now, the past maybe a little over a year, because I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed. So what has been stripped from me is really performance. because that's where I hid. That's where, and the world is very good about really creating this toxic environment of hustle culture, of reward system, of you're only valuable depending on what you continually bring to the table and continually have to outperform last week's things. And everything's a metric. And so really God has been stripping all that away to say, no, you are daughter first and only and always. You're not what you do. And not having to lean on my own understanding and in my own, even though it's funny because God gives us all these gifts and talents, but he doesn't want us to lean on them. It's almost like I'm giving them to you, but also I want to partner with you in them. Is not for us to just like scurry off and go do it. Only because we can doesn't mean we should. Because what ends up happening is that we end up taking on so much that then we end up like, really being heavily burdened. And that's not why he gave us our gifts and talents. It's like we want to be good stewards, and in wanting to be good stewards, we overdo it and we do it without grace and receiving from him first. So this last year has just been a stripping away of who I thought I was through the eyes of performance, and really resetting myself that who I am first and foremost is a daughter of the Most High God. And that if I never do anything for him, he's not going to love me any less. He loves me because I'm his. And it's the same thing I have with my kids, right? It's like they can be knuckleheads, but they're my knuckleheads. I will fight you. I will fight you. I will cut you. Those are my kids, right? So from that aspect, I think it's a really gift of resetting of who I really am. And yes, I get to do a lot of cool things and good works every day. And I'm grateful to do them. But I can't put those things as though that is validating who I am and validating the fact that because I exist, I'm worthy, just like everybody else is. We're all made with the plan and the purpose. We're beautifully, wonderfully made, and just sitting in that, like that is who we are. We're first that, and then we can go do out of the overflow of that grace.
And I love that, because I come from a place, and I never realized this. I was never aware of it until I was, right. And I came from a place of believing I had to earn everything. I didn't deserve anything, but I was rewarded for the work that I did. I felt like if I kind of that performance, if I did a good job, then I would be gifted with something, instead of realizing that I simply could just believe it and receive it because it's already ours. But I don't know, like, I really don't know where that came from, but I carried that with me for over 40 some years, that I have to do and earn it in order to receive anything. And it's really hard to step into that place of realizing that, no, just because you exist, you're enough. Like it's a really, for me, it was very difficult to go there. And I'm still not really clear where that came from, but
I think it's been just I think the realization that I've been having is that because is from becoming a mother, and just taking time to become aware and have those realizations that my worth, I was taught that my worth was my work. That's how I was conditioned at a very young age, and being told, consistently and constantly is like, don't have children. They'll ruin your life, from my mother.
wow. Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, and she's, then of course, after I had, my daughter, she would every now and again say things like, oh, you had everything before. You now, you have your kid, and that they take everything from you, and this and that. So I've been coming to various realizations in learning that, my worth is not my work. It's me being as healthy as I possibly can, both spiritually, mentally, physically, for my daughter, so that I can, help mold her into the future leader that I know she will be. So I think, but it's been a culmination of all of this time. She's 6. Within those 6 years, it's a constant learning process for me, in trying to figure out, yeah, who the heck am because literally, you know, who I was before is nothing at all who I am now. And it's amazing how there's areas that I can still identify that need, some work. So yeah, it's yeah. And I feel like, of course, it's always going to be an ongoing thing in learning new things about ourselves. But I think that I would have never been faced with myself had I not had my baby.
Wow, that's beautiful. What about you, Yara?
Yeah, it's kind of along those lines. It's just not learning how not to compare myself with others. Learning that my timeline is my timeline, does not have to do with anybody else's. That my time will come, and putting those boundaries, because what really helped me and kind of like realize that is living in New York. My life in New York is so much different from where I'm at right now here in South Carolina. In New York, my life was a rush, going, always showing up, trying to prove myself, not saying no, saying yes to everything, to the point that people sometimes wouldn't even ask me, can you? Like, they would just come to me directly because they would know I would say yes. But it was really exhausting. It
Yeah.
was exhausting. So coming here, made me realize that, like, why? For what? For who? You know, I just need to learn to slow down, trust God, learn that my worth doesn't have to do with any performance or anything else, but knowing that I'm his daughter and that he's got something for me. I have my own gift, my own timeline, and learn, learning how to say no and putting those boundaries, and feeling comfortable in my own skin.
Yep. And I give you credit to the word boundaries, because I think I've shared that with you before. I didn't even realize I had none. I mean, I just didn't. And until Yada was just like, boundaries, girl. And I'm like, you mean I can say no? That's a thing.
That's a full sentence.
Yeah, that's a full sentence. Jessica, there's a question in here that says, how is your mother as a grandmother?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Well, we'll be back with part 2. No.
Yeah, no. I can go into, So I think one of the biggest learning experiences, lessons that I've had to learn is boundaries. They did not exist in our family. So the biggest lesson that I learned was a couple of years ago. She's a lot older. And at the time I was like, well, I want to help my mother. Maybe we should move in together and I can help her. But I didn't know that her mental illness was as bad as it was. Okay. And so we bought a house together. And almost immediately after moving in, she was destroying the house. It was a brand new house. It had just been built, but she was destroying it, paranoid, undiagnosed. But and then I obviously lost everything. The one day that did it for me was she had my daughter on, sitting on her lap, and she was looking right at me with my daughter on her lap, and she told me that I deserve to be told that I'm a bad mother. So that for me did it. And then after that, I kind of spiraled after that. So I have had to not only learn about boundaries, but learn about forgiveness, forgiveness to the most extreme. Because of course, then my daughter later on would continue to bring it up for quite a while after that. So at that time I felt so alone. But I learned so much after that too. I learned what I needed to do to keep going, and to be resilient, especially after having your mother say that to you. So the relationship itself, I have to really prepare myself, to when I'm kind of exposed to her. Some days are okay, but with limited visitation. So, and she's within walking distance to where I live now.
Wow.
Um, I don't see her very often, but when I do, it's on her terms. And it's basic. It's usually just like a really quick "Hi, how are you?" type deal. She's doing fine. Everything's fine, but there's no relationship there. She will
Yeah.
never know who I am, but she will never know my daughter either. And I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that simply because I care more about my peace and my daughter's well-being. After that happened, I I lost everything. Like
Yeah.
I literally I lost the house. I had to quit my job, and that's when I was like, okay, it's time for me to be here with my daughter 24/7. And so it kind of all of the things that were supposed to happen, it just happened like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it wasn't a gradual
Mhm.
progression toward anything. It was just sudden.
Don't you
So
love when God does that? When God doesn't let you tiptoe into the thing, it's like boom, here it is.
yeah, I was like, okay, loud and clear, God. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's
It took a lot of time for me to get a smile on my face again. That's for
well,
sure.
it's a beautiful one, and we're
Hey.
like so glad to have you. So that takes us into like being sponsored by Besitos Beauty here that we're talking. As we get older and we've had to reinvent ourselves and we've had to like pick up the pieces, do you like I was getting ready today and as I was putting on my lipstick, do you think as like when you see this future version of yourself, because I think you get to the age where you're like, we can be anything we freaking want, and we've been there and we've done that. But from an outside perspective, I was thinking about this. Do you think that there are like rules to the makeup like this is so random, but it is besitos, so we're talking lipstick too. But do you think there's any like rules to follow as you get older, when because I've had people say like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't even wear that color of lipstick, like if you're in your 50s you shouldn't even have your hair like that. Like, do you, like as you guys are envisioning where you're going, what your life looks like down the road, do you see anything like that? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I'm the girly girl, right? It's like
Mhm.
in the Besitos, I'm the one with the blonde hair and the big lashes.
Yeah, yeah. If when you watch our video, Raquel's the one that's in the blonde.
It's like, yeah, do what you want to do, but there are some color theories, like, so sometimes people they like certain things, but it does make you look older, and it's not as flattering as it can be because you're not wearing the best color for you. But if you like it anyway, then just wear it. Now, if you want to change it up and you want to find the best colors for you, then that's different, right? Because you just want that. And I'm always like, people, I'm 52. And a lot of times people are like, what, And I'm like, well, I take a bath in skincare, but my skincare is from the Dollar Tree. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to have juicy skin, right? So finding those things that are good for your skin, and they don't have to be, like high price. They can if you want it. There's nothing wrong with those. I'm just like, I'd rather go get a manicure, or I'd rather go have an experience than buying the higher end things.
Yep.
That's how I am right now. Doesn't mean that I'm going to change, but there are some rules, but it just depends on what you want. You like what you like, then keep wearing it, because that's going to make you feel good, and you're
Mhm.
going to look beautiful anyway because you feel confident in it.
Yes.
Now, if
Yes.
you want, again, you want to update your look, then update the look. So there are a little bit of rules around that you can experiment with. But at the end of the day, you need to wear what makes you feel confident and beautiful, because other people be like, oh,
That's right.
wow, look at her. She's so confident. She's so beautiful. And they don't even know why, but it's because you feel good about you. Right?
Yep.
We rewire the room, and we're
Mhm.
going to help people respond to us in a certain way. But when you feel good, everybody, right? It was that old thing from Saturday Night Live. When you look good, you feel good, darling. So look good for you, and you'll feel good for you, and everybody else. They'll fall in line, and if they don't like it, they don't. Then okay, bye.
Yep. And I love that. And what about you guys? Because I was getting ready today, and knowing that we were going to have this conversation, and I'm like, reinventing yourself. And what if I'm trying to let my hair grow out, but what if somebody has had long hair their whole life and turns 50 and decides I'm chopping it off? Like, it's a completely, you can do whatever you want. And so that just made that question pop in my head. What about you, Yara?
I agree with Raquel. Like, there are certain things, that it's like obvious, like may not go with you, but if that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you feel good and confident, then go for it. Right? People don't like it, then look the other way. Like I was saying, like they tell you why you do that, like who are you? You just go like that. Like there's that type of questions. I mean, that's the type of the question that you ask that type of people. Like, and then who are you? I didn't ask you.
Yep.
But
I
if
love
that's
it.
what makes you happy, then go for it.
Yep. And with you, Jessica, in your flare wear, in the flowers and stuff, like that exudes such a confidence that comes out of you, because you could tell you feel absolutely beautiful and fantastic with that. But I'm sure that at times people have wondered, like, why do you always have a flower in your hair?
Right. Yeah. And I don't have one in my hair, right? So it's crazy, but they're behind me. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, it's all about self-expression. And I think, especially later on in life, we're like, I don't care what anybody thinks anymore. Like I remember in my 20s, I was so self-conscious about everything. It was just in this tiny little bubble. So now it's like, I'm in, mid 40s, and I'm happy to be able to, express myself the way that I feel most comfortable. I don't know if I'll always wear a red lipstick, even though I want to rock it forever. But I love my beauty products too. I mean, dollar store. Oh my gosh, there's so many good dollar store finds. So yeah, it just, as long as you feel good about you, because there's so much, social media and the media out there just slamming on women for this and that. I mean, and everything. So yeah, let's be rebels and feel good about ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And part of that question came up because I did come across, I don't know what her name is, but she's in her 50s. She's got blonde, really short. Well, it's like gray blonde, really short, spiky. She does her makeup her way, and she just drops F-bombs. Like it's just her character. It's just who she is. But to the point that she's in her 50s now, and she just doesn't even really give a crap. But it's hilarious because she says the things that I think a lot of us feel, once you reach that point. Like, we've been through it, we've lived it, we've stayed quiet, we've we've been there, done that, and you get to that point where you're like, screw it, this is me and all of me. So for me, my colors are my colors, but being in the makeup industry, I have learned tips and techniques as the face gets older, like where to position certain things to lift, because everything comes down. So it's like there's certain ways, most people when we were younger, we would like suck the cheeks in to get that like line and blush, but that brings everything down. So it's like I like to give people tips as we age, like where the highlighter or contour should actually go to like lift the face. And so to me, there are little tips and tricks that we can do as we age to still feel, young and vibrant. But I just feel like there's no rules. Like, I just feel like whatever makes you freaking feel fabulous, then do that and do it proudly. So, yeah.
But wear a little makeup, even if it's just lipstick and having your brows done, because statistics show, and it goes across a lot of industries, that women who wear makeup make 30% more than women who don't. Yeah. So it's like, okay, you're like, well, that sounds superficial. Okay, so it's gonna make you money. Grab a Besito lipstick. And get those lips popping. Get those lips popping.
Well, Here's a fun fact while we're talking about it. Lipstick, there's an article that I have that through recessions, lipstick, basically that industry is the one to get in because women will always splurge on something. Lipstick is a low cost item. It's an immediate fix, and they won't, there's certain things that they'll give up, but when it comes to something small like that, they're going to keep it going. So I got any dream team people out there, you can join us. But it's true. I usually tell people, even when they say I'm not a lipstick person, then put some gloss on, put some clear gloss. The moment you put something on your lips, you get them ducked lip, you just feel better. You carry yourself different. So it doesn't have to be like that bold scream, look at me, but just the moment you put something on, you do carry yourself different. You feel it. So I love that, Raquel. 30 you said 30%
more. Just put on find a lipstick that you feel good in, and that's something that just looks like you don't have anything on. Like, but right, because it ends up having a little bit of color. It just really shows that you've taken the time. I think it's just a subconscious thing. People see it and they're like, oh, you've taken the time to do something to pull your look together. And it's just, that's such a simple thing to do and then like your collections stuff are beautiful. I've seen some of the things that you've done with collaborations with other people where that's really beautiful too. So now you have a few lippies to play with depending on your mood. So it's just like, just go and splurge. And if you go to the Dollar Tree, everything's $1.25. But
there you go. There you go.
But I love your besitos because they're matte, but they're very comfortable. Sometimes when people wear certain mats, it's just like really drying on the lips and you don't want to wear them. Yeah, that's what I love about your formula, that the formula is just velvety and it feels good on the lips. So if you're one of those like, oh, I don't really like anything on my lips, you need it's because you haven't tried a besitos.
There you go. There's our plug. There's our plug.
And I'm not getting paid for this yet.
Yes. Come back next week. We'll ship you some besitos. But it is true. You know, you have to do what makes you feel the most confident in your own skin, because once you do, who you project, like how you project yourself out there is how people are going to receive you. So just no rules, do what makes you feel good. And that's the main thing. So as we're coming into this final round, when we think of that reinvention, and we've been there, we've done that, we've got the proof, we can pick up those pieces, we can rebuild, we are resilient. But if we were to think down the road, down in the future, and we're able to be like, wow, I didn't see this version of me coming, but she is, and I want you guys to fill in the blank. I want you guys to like think of something that you have in mind ahead of you that maybe you feel like, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. I don't know what's going to become of it. But as you see it and you're saying like, wow, I didn't see this version of me coming, but she is stronger than I ever imagined, or she is more fit and solid than I ever thought. Like, what do you see for a future version of yourself?
I know one of the projects that are on God's heart for me is to build this telecom system. So that way we have like churches and like, people and preachers and stuff can get like cheaper or free access. So that way they can really bring the gospel into the world. So it's like this whole network of satellites. And it's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be when I actually looked at the numbers. I thought I was going to need a lot more money than I thought. So that's on some horizon down the road of building that. But I didn't realize that the path was, he's already been building it through some multimedia things that he's inspired me to do. In the meantime, that I get to practice getting the gospel out, to love on people and to encourage them, to lift them up. Because it's important, right? There's so much noise out there. So even right now, I'm doing like a piece of that project now through the radio station to empower people 24/7, because we need it. And that's what I love about Prospera, is because you purposely put people together, and it's the same kind of heart, right? We want to uplift each other. We want to empower them. We want to leave them better than when they came, right? We want them to be everything that they've been created to be. And so I'm really grateful that I'm already practicing that
Yeah.
future self right now.
Yep. I love it. Practicing that future self. That's amazing. This little panel discussion, the Chicas Unfiltered, isn't really here for any other purpose than to bring real conversation on with real women to talk about real stuff. And I think sometimes we just need that environment that says we're not here to perform, we're not here to be perfect, but let's just talk about something. Because I think when you open the conversation, it's amazing at how many people can relate, but sometimes don't. Sometimes they feel like they're the only one, right? They might feel like they're the only one that feels this way. And when we come out here and just be ourselves, that's the proof that there are others that maybe are sitting in that sideline or that back burner, not quite sure. They're just not there. And if we can just be that sounding voice, kind of like Raquel, like you said, like we just need to put the stuff out there, and whoever it's meant for will be there. So that's what these conversations are for. So Yara, for you answering that question, I didn't see this version of me coming, but man, she is what?
Bolder and speaking on stages. That's the way I see myself.
I love it.
Definitely.
I love it.
Yeah,
Getting
I'm
that.
looking forward to it too.
Yep, getting that speech ready, getting that. And you will be speaking at our retreat too. You will
Yes,
be able
ma'am.
to add retreat speaker to your resume. So that'll
Look
be
at that. Oh,
awesome.
look at that. Look.
Yep.
Another one. Check.
Check. There you go. Awesome. Awesome. What about you, Jessica? You didn't see this version coming, but man, she is what?
Empowered, I would say, and embracing my inner child too. Because I was buried. I didn't have confidence, and it might have been there, but it was really muffled. And I think that it has allowed me to finally find my comedy again, like just to be my goofball self and go with the flow.
I love that that you say goofball self, because to be honest, like when I've edited some of Yada's shows, I'm like cracking up. I'm like, girl, you got a sense of humor, and I never even knew. And when Raquel and I mean, you guys always make me laugh, and I feel like God didn't give me that funny bone brain. Like I'll think of a joke like next week it'll come to me. I just don't have that quick. So when I think of that little girl, humor and that fun side coming out, I think that that's so awesome. Like that's so awesome for you. And when I envision, you and your daughter together, it's like, what a better pair to be able to go through that together. I mean, she's probably helping bring that side of you forward,
1,000%. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for it. She's the best thing that has ever happened for me.
That is so sweet. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right. So here we are, guys. We are at the time. So just for you to know, like reinvention doesn't always have to be big. It doesn't always have to be grand. Reinvention can be choosing to just wake up today and say, I'm just going to go for being the best version of me today. And that is it. And when you do that one day, and then the next day, and then the next day, before you know it, you look back and you're like, wow, how did I get through that time? Like, how did I do this? And really, I think that's the best gift you can give to yourself when you find yourself in a position to have to pick up pieces, or you find yourself in a position that you weren't expecting. And it is an opportunity to literally reinvent yourself and just take it one day at a time. So do you guys have any final words before we wrap up?
If you're here, you are seen, you are loved, you are accepted. Nothing's gone wrong. If you're having negative thoughts, it's just your brain. It's just an offer. You don't have to take it. And if you need a place to land, then come find one of us. We will be your cheerleader. We will kick you in the butt and remind you of how fabulous and amazing you are, because you are amazing and fabulous, and you're made for such a time as this.
I love that. And I do have to tell you, Raquel, here, I love when you say nothing has gone wrong. One of the first things that you said when we had our first call together, when you were just talking, and you said that, and I had never heard that. And I've never forgotten it because nothing has gone wrong. And wow, how different that allows you to see things when you can look at it from that perspective. So that's a gift you've given me. And I don't know if I've ever told you that, but to hear you say that again tonight, I had never heard that until I met you, and I've never forgotten it. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yara, what were you going to say?
Something quick. I was just going to say that if, whoever is watching this at whatever point of time, if you're in a season where you are trying to reinvent yourself, don't rush it. This is not a glow up moment for the internet or a performance. This is real life. We're healing, we're rebuilding, and it's just it's just the process. Just trust your God, trust yourself, and trust the process of becoming.
Thank you for sharing that. And Jessica, do you have anything?
Yeah, the same thing is take your time and give yourself some grace, and just to remember that you're exactly where you're meant to be at this moment, and God doesn't put you in some place that you're not supposed to be.
Thank you guys so much for sharing your time and being part of our panel discussion tonight. We will be back next month with another episode of Chicas Unfiltered. I'm going to cough now. So we're going to play our video. And remember, Raquel's the one in the blonde.
Chicas Unfiltered. Let's go. Red lips on, lights down low. We don't hide, let the realness show. Every chica got a fire inside. Tonight's the night, no compromise. Ooh, corazón, feel the rhythm take control. Sisters rising, breaking chains, unstoppable. Chicas unfiltered. Dance it out, let the world get lifted. Chicas unfiltered. No mask, no fear, we're gifted. Hands high, corazón, let's ride. Queens of the night, can't hide this vibe. Lip gloss, tequila shots, we laugh, we cry. Turning heartbreaks into battle cries. Glow so fierce, we set the tone. Unapologetic, we own the throne. Dale, dale, move your body. Sisters rising, nobody can stop me. Chicas unfiltered, raw y bonita. Power y fuego, nuestra vida. Chicas unfiltered. Turn it up, let the soul get lifted. Chicas unfiltered. Yeah. Unstoppable queen, so gifted. This is our time, our story to write. Together we ride, together we shine tonight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is your Prospera era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.